anew with a new file because we always post our interviews. And we're talking this morning with a gentleman by the name of Blake Harbin. And Blake Harbin is the CEO for Housel Financial. And he's in, Blake, say the name of the town again. Alpharetta? Say it again. Alpharetta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
They call it one of the tech capitals of the South.
Really? And I've never heard of it. Man, am I just living a sheltered life. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Hey, Blake, this is a serious subject here this morning. Is this country headed for a recession next year? Is there something we can do about it? The economic signs, the indicators all seem to point to the fact that we're headed for some really troubling times, don't they?
Oh, 100%. The problem is that we are making a beeline towards a mild recession. Look, it's not going to be, I don't believe it's going to be 08, 09 again. And Lord knows I don't want to go through that again. That was horrendous. But yeah, I mean, we've got record high gas prices. We've got, the average inflation across the country is now is 8.5%. It was 1.8% a year ago. And it just continues to rise, and this is going to start hitting Americans every day, with just your staples, such as your food, such as your housing, such as your gas prices. I mean, it literally costs the 20% just to put bacon on the table, or to bring the proverbial bacon home, should I say.
So one of the things that happens when you get to a recession is often we look to the federal government to sort of buy our way out of it and to create wealth and drive prices down. Unfortunately, the country's penchant for spending in the last couple of years, A, may have actually wiped out the coffers, and B, well, they might have been the reason for everything to happen the way that it is.
Oh, 100%. You cannot spend your way out of a recession, but you can definitely spend your way in it, and that's what we're doing right now. We're not addressing the root problem. What we're doing is we're doing a classic attack on slowing inflation down of raising interest rates, which will have a cascading effect on Americans as well. But we're not addressing the root problem, which is our supply chains. So we can, look, when you've got demand as high as we do, and we haven't been getting ships, we haven't been getting the goods. That's where your issue therein lies, because it will continue to drive that demand more and more and more. But until we get a hold, that's your root cause. I mean, we've got to get our supply chains in order and not send out more monopoly money stimulus checks, because that just incentivizes people to not work. And, we've got a problem right now that we can't fill the jobs that we have. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of issues that the government doesn't apparently seem to understand.
Can we easily get out of that supply chain issue? I mean, it seems like if we were to bring manufacturing back onto our shores a little bit more than they are right now, and stop farming out all of those vital things like microchips and things of that nature, that it would take a while to establish them in such a way that they're actually going to have an impact.
Well, it's kind of funny you bring that up. It's one of the things that I try to point out on a regular basis, that is, if we made more things here, then we wouldn't have those same issues. It's just like we went through this during COVID. You couldn't, if you wanted a mask or any of those sort of supplies, you couldn't get them. Why couldn't you get them? Because they were all made in China, and they were going to put China first, not America first. Mm-hmm. And that's where we keep going wrong. But look, we can still have an impact by removing mandates at the ports, so we can get more folks to actually go to work. And because the American people are over COVID. They've moved forward. We all know it's real. We all know what it can do, but we're done living in, sheltering ourselves away.
Yeah, we certainly have heard of course, about the supply chain and the ports in Los Angeles and how they're just being looted every single day. A second part of all of this, and a very, very important part for all Americans, is the energy solution. We still don't have it yet. There are plenty who say that the solution is right underneath their own feet, but right now there doesn't seem to be the political will to make that happen.
Well, it's because, Biden seems to have a very limited relationship, to say the least, with OPEC when he's coming across as just a total beggar. And the reality of it is, especially with where the prices of oil are right now, we could easily be, drilling right here, even if we're doing the fracking again. They're also doing the, I guess what do they call it? The shale oil,
Mm-hmm.
where they separate it out from sand and all this other. It is a much more costly endeavor. But then at the same time, with the prices where they are, they can do it. But we have to give them the permits. We have to actually let them go out and do those. They said, the Biden administration keeps saying is, yes, we have all these, 9,000 permits, but these companies don't want to take advantage of it. And that's just simply not true. The companies are trying to take advantage of it, but they're also blocking them at every part when they have to go and reapply for these new permits.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I heard it put this way last week that it's sort of like giving somebody the title to a house, but not giving them the keys to get in it. So that's obviously a problem. So Blake, are there steps to take that this country can take to pull us out of this pathway that we're on toward recession, and how quickly must that be done in order to avoid it?
Well, the unfortunate part about it is I don't believe that we can avoid it. But what we can do is we can limit how large that it goes. And how we do that is we have to curtail our spending. We have to start living within our means. You can't, again, like what we shared before, you can't spend your way out of this. So we have to roll it back, live within our means, like the rest of the American people do, and that'll slow it, because you're not going to have this over insert of or flood of money, and that's where we're getting. That's where we are continuing to get into trouble every single day. So how do we fix it? We fix it by stopping the wasteful spending and fixing our supply chains. That's the first thing that we need to do. That I believe that's even more important than raising the interest rates, to slow inflation. I mean, raising interest rates is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it hurts my business, but it's not a bad thing. But it's still not hitting the root problem. So the only way we're going to at least limit the damage of this is to fix those root problems.
In the meantime, what should Mr. or Mrs. Smith down the street be doing to prepare for a coming recession? What are the steps that families should be taking right now?
This is one of the hardest things that I have to keep saying on this is, look, we need to hold on to our cash. We need to hold on to our savings. That'll slow the liquidity down as well. Regardless of what the government loves to take all of our money, but Americans in general have more money than the government if you combine it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hold on to it. I would suggest, stop your 50 trips to Starbucks a month. That'll you've got to get rid of any sort of exorbitant spending. I tend to err on the conservative side of these issues, especially as far as fiscal responsibility, because I've lived through 4 freaking recessions. It's kind of funny. A couple of years ago, I was interviewing a guy, and I said I had asked him how long he'd been in the mortgage industry, and he says, "Well, let me think. I've been broke 4 times, so 30 years." But
Yeah.
It's an inevitable part that we're going to have recessions. But how bad they are is dictated by what we do and how we react. And in order for us to, move forward, it's economics 101, to say the least. It really is. And we just have to follow through with it and execute it. And unfortunately, I don't think our current administration can do that.
He is Blake Harbin. I wanted you to be really helpful for me here, Blake, but you're scaring me now. Hey, I appreciate your time here this morning, though. You have given us some pretty solid indicators of what we can do to prepare for whatever it is that's coming down the road. And I appreciate your time today.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Have a great day.
You do the same.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS.